Welcome to Fear and Greed, the week ahead. I'm Sean Aylmer, and as always, I'm joined by economist Stephen Koukoulas. For the last time this year, you'll find Stephen at thekouk.com, THEKOUK.com, and on X using the handle thekouk. Stephen, good morning.
Good morning, Sean.
What a cracking way to finish a year of economics with that labour force figure last week.
Well, when we saw that on Thursday, I think it was shockingly fantastic. One of the things that us economists love, and one of the reasons we worried about tax reform, that we worry about, education and infrastructure and all those other things, productivity, is to get the unemployment rate as low as possible. And of course, that's one of the aims of the RBA. So when we saw that 3.9% unemployment rate hit the screens last Thursday, there was an audible, coming from around Australia, I think, from the economists, because no one in their right mind saw that coming, particularly on the back of the weaker growth. And it really started a debate. This debate will probably take some time to resolve, like months and if not a year. Have we got the situation in Australia where the NAIRU, the full employment unemployment rate, is sort of like 3.5% to 4%? Professor Garnaut thinks that, so there's one very smart person who thinks that. Or is it the 4.5% that the RBA and most of us were sort of thinking before last week? And if it is lower, it does have implications still for interest rates, even though the knee-jerk reaction to, wow, that's an incredibly low unemployment rate, was to push back the timing of the rate cut. It was a game-changing number. It was extraordinary. Now, we want to see another 1 or 2 months of it, but it was extraordinary.
We kind of end the year. It hasn't been a bad year. I know economic growth is slow, but inflation is ticking lower. Interest rates, the new normal is certainly higher interest rates than they were 5 years ago. We've got this incredible employment market. We're not too badly off, really.
And I think that's the point that the RBA made last week with the on-hold decision, which, again, I think everybody thought. And we had the governor give her press conference, and then the deputy governor, Andrew Houser, giving a speech on, I think it was Wednesday night last week. And they were sort of saying a similar sort of thing. Look, we're worried. Economists are paid to be worried about the next sort of bad bit of news to come along. But as we reflect on what happened in 2024, as you said, the unemployment rate, let's call it hovering at 4% basically for the whole year. Job creation still being pretty good. Inflation ticking down. Wages, while they've come off the highs, are still higher than inflation, so that's a good thing. And then things like, the ASX, bumping at record highs all through the latter part of the year too. That's a good thing. And the housing market, well, something for everybody, because prices are starting to ease just a smidge too, so that affordability is not as stretched, but people who've got a house are still as rich as can be. And so you sort of take stock for a minute. We're doing okay.
I wonder whether that'll come out in the election next year, that we are actually doing okay.
Well, I'm talking the macro figures, yes, because within that overarching economic growth, full employment, all these other things, and there's a few other theories going around about why the labour market's been so strong, which is a structural change. So just if I can spend 20 seconds on it, if you're being told to do fewer hours or you've been sacked from your job in retail or hospitality, unlike the old days when you're unemployed, nowadays you just go to Uber, you open up an Uber driver account and you become an Uber driver to at least get a bit of cash flow to keep your household on the book. So you're counted as employed, even though you were made unemployed by your previous employer. So that structural change, those sorts of changes, how easy it is to set up a new occupation for yourself if you're desperate for money and you've got mortgages and rent and kids and all these other things to do. It's made those numbers arguably a bit harder to read.
Stephen, actually not much going on this week, which is fair enough because we're almost at Christmas. I think it's time for all you economists to have a break, but there isn't much on this week, is there?
There's not much. The only thing that I think is popping up is the MyEFO.
Oh, of course. That's big. Yeah.
Jim Chalmers will be releasing the budget update, and he sort of alluded to bits and pieces of this, and all the smart people who sort of dig through the budget numbers are sort of saying that the budget deficit that they forecast in May, so 6-7 months ago now, will not be that much different. They were punting for a deficit of about $28 billion when the budget was handed down back in May. Look, there's been some things a bit weaker, some things a bit stronger, and I think as we alluded to at the beginning, it's not that different to what Treasury was thinking. So the budget deficit number, which of course everyone will look at, will be there or thereabouts. It won't be a massive difference from the $28 billion that Chalmers was forecasting. And do you know what? I think most people will glance at it and then go off to their Christmas parties or down to the beach or watch the cricket.
Now, you do know, Stephen, that during the summer, in that first week of January, we're going to interrupt your holiday and we're going to get you to come on the show and talk about the economy. We won't until then. We're going to give you a good 10-day break or whatever, maybe 2-week break.
Thank you.
But we want you back.
I'll be back and look, and we'll have a bit of a, I guess we're going to have a bit of a sort of look at the year ahead in January when we get together again and sort of say, well, where are we? Like, I'll have a chance to, over Christmas time, to, put my feet up, as I said, watch the cricket, have a nice meal with my lovely family, and reflect on where is the economy in 2025, and we'll chat about it then.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for everything this year, Stephen, and enjoy your break.
And enjoy your break too, and to everybody out there, fantastic. Love you all. Thanks.
That was economist Stephen Koukoulas, better known as Love Yous All the Kook. You can find him at thekook.com and follow him on X using the handle The Kook. I'm Sean Aylmer, and this is Fear and Greed, the week ahead.